everybody, welcome back to another week of the Lollygaggers Dynasty Recap. I'm your host, Zang, and once again, I am joined by the wonderful Ace. How you doing, man?
Hey, I'm back. What's going on, guys?
He's
Doing
back.
good.
The dynamic duo.
Yes, sir.
We're here again for 1 week only. We'll talk about that a little bit more at the end. We'll have some details about next week's pod at the end of this one, so stay tuned for that. But we had a exciting week. We had close Sunday matchups coming in, some really tight ones. Not too a couple in the hundreds, in terms of the differential, but we had one that was I think less than 10, one that was just around 11. So some pretty close ones, which is good to see, and some upsets. And I'm excited to get to the standing segment because there's some names I'm looking forward to sprinkling some praise on for the first time in a while.
Yes, sir. Yeah, there's some resurgences, some continuations of curses, some exciting stuff here.
I did my best, guys. I really tried to reverse your fortunes, but
cereal is not appreciated.
Yeah, that one may be sticking. Ace, before we get started, you want to talk a little bit about why next week is kind of a significant one in the cycle of this Dynasty League?
Yes, so we were just talking about it right now before in the pregame. So next week begins our first rounds of repeat matchups, essentially. So up until now, every matchup has been different. We've played somebody different every week. And so now this will be the first week of the season where we are going to repeat whoever our first matchup of the season was. That will be the matchup this time around. So very exciting. Some revenge games, of course. Actually, a lot of revenge games. Every game this week will be a revenge game of some sort for someone. So very exciting to see how it plays out, and I'm sure that the head-to-head records, this is when it's going to start to get really, really good.
This is when it starts getting dicey. We'll see, some people going up 2-0. If you tie it 1-1, all of a sudden those point differentials come into play a lot. And I know, once we come down head to Hideki, though, we'll definitely get to talk about point differentials. So this next week, I am really looking forward to following along on. We will get started, though, with this week, our final one of the first round of matchups. Our first matchup was Inten versus Bose. They came in 10 down at the bottom of the league, 3-7, and Bose came in 6-4. And on Monday, let's see, Bose jumped out to an early win. He scored 72 points to start the week off to Inten's 56. Byron Buxton had 13 points and Webb had 37 there. But on Tuesday, Inten punched back 100 points to Bose 22. Stevenson and Soto both scored 7. Soto's been really picking it up recently for Inten, which has been good to see. And then Zach Gallen with 31 and Landon Roop with 28 over there. Inten held again on Wednesday thanks to Williers' 6 points and Jose Barrios' 24. It was a bit closer on Thursday when Inten scored only 38 and Bose scored 81. Inten still held that lead, though. Adley's 11 points, Semyon's 15, and the 23 from both Zach Eflin and David Peterson helped Bose close the gap a little bit there, but Inten delivered what ended up being kind of the final blow there on Friday, scoring 118 points to only 54 from Bose. Devers had 11 on that day against the Yankees. You can always count on him. Sonny Gray with 29 and Zach Littell with 26. And as I was kind of previewing there, Inten did hold the lead through the end of the week, 49-74 on Saturday, and then 53-69 on Sunday. Inten did end up winning this matchup 480-461, just 19 points separating the two of them. Inten now slides up to 4-7, a little bit of a resurgence from him there, and Bose down to 6-5, still pretty high up in the standings.
Yeah, a little bit of a resurgence from Inten, as you mentioned, back-to-back weeks now with the win to get him up to 4-7. And as we were also talking about pregame before the start of the show, it is a very, very close point in the season right now. Out of the 12 people, 8 of us are within a game of each other. Yeah. So it's getting good.
Yeah, particularly around the playoff line, That's there are some people who are only out of a playoff, by matchup or point differential. There are some that are just one back of the playoff line. So, I know we're all kind of keeping an eye on that 6th place more and more as we get further along, and it is tight, and that's where, these surprise kind of upsets like Inten taking down Bose here definitely show out.
Yeah, definitely it helps me here.
Yeah.
Thanks, in 10.
We're a symbiotic league here. We we
Yes,
help each other out when we're not facing off. But in 10's best batter for the week was Soto with 36.3. Not, I think, a coincidence that in 10 has won 2 straight, and Juan Soto's really started to pick it up.
Yeah.
Obviously, that is a huge
Shocker.
piece for him there. I know, kind of, yeah. What do you know? When Soto's doing well, your team does well. And then over on the pitching side, San Francisco recently moved Landon Roop to the starting rotation. That has been good for in 10. He was one of the potent pitchers for the week with 48.5 points. Over on Bo's side, we had Marcus Semien with 36.9 points as his best batter. And then Logan Webb, a regular staple in these, inning eater that he is, with 64.3. Unsurprisingly, he was also one of our potent pitchers. Big win for in 10. Obviously, those aren't super high numbers there. 36.3 isn't bad for a batter, but not anything outstanding. And 48.5, although one of the potent pitchers is definitely on the lower end there, but in 10 kind of scratched and clawed it out. You saw some big performances kind of across the board, and it did give him that win. And, he is, as you were sort of hinting, he's one of those teams within a couple games of a playoff spot. So, last week we were talking about, oh my gosh, he's kind of out of it. Look for, he's got Sonny Gray. That might be somebody good to trade for. All of a sudden he's within a game or two of the playoff line. And we could be kind of seeing a mid-season resurgence there.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things where, earlier in the year, it's obviously easy to kind of, get carried away. Cereal. Apologies
again.
Yeah. Yeah, you're going to have to buy him like a beer or something.
After
this season.
Send something over.
That was rough, but we'll get into that too, because it's like 8 straight now, so it's become a problem.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, it's just it was so early in the season that people had the chance to come back and kind of build their teams, and like you mentioned, guys that started the season really slow. That translates to fantasy. A lot of some of these guys here started slow, and 10 being one of them, and you start to see the resurgence as the season goes on. I would not be surprised. It's going to be an absolute dogfight for these, I'm going to say like final 2 spots come playoff time.
Yeah, that top 4, I mean, look, we're just approaching around halfway, and obviously this all could change, but it does feel like there's a pretty clear top 4 in the league, and then some, middle space, and then some down at the bottom. But that top 4 feels pretty locked in some order there.
Yeah, and not to name any names, but there was a couple of top 4 matchups, or there was a top 2 matchup this past week too, which I'm very excited to get into. And I feel like that'd be a good segue now.
Speaking of which, this is what they call pro podcasting, folks. That'll bring us on to our next matchup, which is Mike versus Hideki, the headlining event of this week. Obviously, we all had eyes on it. Both were coming in 7-3. Mike at the top of the league last week. Hideki below him just on point differential. It would have been, because this is their first matchup, and it did not disappoint. Although the holding of the lead was pretty one-sided. It was up until that last day there. It was close. So on Monday, Hideki took the lead with a 43-29 point performance. Trout with 12 and Kerry Carpenter helped give him that lead. Mike swiped it back with a huge 133 on Tuesday. 96 from Hideki too, not too shabby. On Tuesday, Mike had Pablo Lopez and Freddie Peralta both put up 17 points for him, and then McCullers, who's had a really nice return to MLB, he put up 34 for Mike. On the other side, 21 points for Ketel Marte and 14 for Bobby Witt Jr., 31 for Sugano. Really, really nice there. Mike held it again through Wednesday and Thursday with 90 and 88 points respectively on those days. Hideki scoring 98 and 80 on those days. On Friday, Mike, again, held the lead, winning the matchup 79-64. Alonso and J-Rod both had 8 points for him on that day, and then Jeff Hoffman and Josh Hader both had 11 points for him on that day. A little parallel. On Thursday, the day before, Ketel had scored 12 for Hideki, and he scored another 9 on Friday, 24 from Senga there. On Saturday, Mike held it, and through Sunday as well. Won't dive too in because the 116-60 on Sunday really kind of sealed it for him there. 42.4 points for Kirby there, or 40 points, pardon me, 42 points for Kirby there. Excuse me. On Sunday, helped Mike secure that win, 628 to 532. It's a 96-point differential, so not super, super close at the end, but it was pretty close coming in. Mike, obviously, with that pretty big, 56-point differential on the last day, made it seem bigger than it was.
Yeah, I think, if you just look at the fantasy hitting stats for both of them, Mike just blew Hideki out of the water. 25 more hits, 9 more RBIs, 158 total bases to 115 of Hideki. So just absolutely insane work by the offense. As you mentioned, Pete Alonso. And then I need to give a shout out to special big love for Big Dumper, Cal Raleigh. He has just been on an absolute tear this season. We've always kind of said catcher position was going to be a bit of a tough one this year, and somehow Hunter Goodman has also been kind of solid.
Falling out for Mike, yeah.
I don't know where the hell that came from, but hell, when you're playing in Coors, I guess anything's possible. And then obviously not to even mention Tyler Soderstrom, who's just been insane this year, insanely consistent. Bellinger is also there at 28. I totally didn't even realize he has Bellinger now. Talk about getting passed around.
Yeah, he's made his way through. I think a quarter of the league has owned Bellinger at some point. We're 11 weeks into the season.
You are not wrong about that.
Yeah, he's made his way through a few teams. But
I will say though, a little bit of shade towards Mike. He did drop me this week. Felt very upset about that.
Brutal. Yeah. Do you want to air your grievances a little bit? Welcome your coming out party. Of course, you have been a major league reliever this whole time.
Yeah, I was actually, been in the Ranger system. Actually been, it's actually why I haven't been on the pod the last couple of weeks.
Sure, got to throw your innings.
Yeah, I've been throwing my innings, and apparently haven't been doing good enough because Mike just dropped my ass. So, that's why we're back here on the pod. Great week for Mike and his offense. Battle of heavyweights, man, and big Mike time. Comes out on top.
Yeah, Mike is now 8-3 and right at the top of the league there, and Hideki down at 7-4 still.
Down at 7-4.
I killed him. He's 7-4, but he is slid a little bit. But of course, as we're talking playoffs, these two teams are going to be there. These are two things we were talking about.
This will not be the last matchup we see between these two teams.
No, it will not. Well, our third matchup, Serial Chillers versus Ace Garcia. We will continue.
Yeah.
We had Serial Chillers coming in 3-7 and Ace coming in at 500 at 5-5. Monday was a pretty uneventful day for both sides. Chillers with just 5 points and Ace with 24. No real standout performances, but 69 points. Nice performance there on Tuesday for Ace to 51 for Serial Chillers. Freeman had 10 and Rasmussen with 31. Ace held it again through Wednesday, although he didn't win the day with 39-69. He did hold the lead. Springs is 21 points on Wednesday there, helped, Chillers close the gap a little bit, and he did end up taking the lead back on Thursday. We saw Pasquantino score 11 points, Bassett 32, Noah Cameron quietly putting up a really nice season on the south side of Chicago with 27 there. Helped him take the lead over from Ace. Then on Friday, Ace snatched it right back and did not surrender the lead until the end of the week, although it was close. We had 86-29 on Friday, 36-59 on Saturday, and then 66-79 on Sunday. So Ace, although you didn't win either of the last two head-to-heads, you did win the matchup 380-369. Just an 11-point differential there separating the two. Bumps Ace up above 500 to 6-5, and Serial Chillers to 3-8 now the basement, sole possession of the basement. Get back to that in the standing segment. I'm going to take this moment again to apologize to serial chillers. I'm so sorry. I'm filling out resumes, for new jobs, and I almost thought about putting like Ken Curse, fantasy teams on there, but they probably don't want that if they're doing a fantasy football pool in the fall. So
yeah, it'd be like special abilities, dark magic wizard. Yeah. So this was, as you mentioned, this was the closest game of the week. What was it, like 6 points that separated?
11 points. Here? Yeah, that separated.
6 points. What? 11.
I have 380 to 369.
Oh, I'm looking at Fantrax right now. There could have been some updates, but I have 380 to 374.
There you go.
So, yeah, insanely close match. So even closer than 11. Yeah, 6-point match. Kind of an interesting note here. I thought this was hilarious. Both of our offenses scored the exact amount of points, 147.8. So we quite literally went neck and neck with offenses. And it was just the pitching staffs that made the difference. I had the 232.2. He had 226.9. And shout out Tanner Bybee. We were talking about him a couple shows ago. Went ahead and might have preyed on a bit of hometown rootingness for a Baltimore Oriole, but Bose did ship me Tanner Bybee in exchange for. I'm kind of getting ahead of it, but I just really feel the need to mention it because it was Tanner Bybee for Corbin Mayo. Kobe Mayo, sorry, not Corbin. That's Corbin Carroll. Kobe Mayo, yes, the up-and-coming third baseman for the Orioles. And Tanner Bybee start quite literally won me the week. Because without that trade,
let's jump ahead. I know we don't normally do that, but, obviously in the transaction tracker this week, Bose traded Tanner Bybee over to Ace for Kobe Mayo. And Bybee ended up determining 2 matchups this week.
That's crazy.
With yours only 6 points, obviously his start on that last day with 26 points scored you there. And if you're keeping up with memory, Bose lost by just 19 to 10. So 26 would have swung it the other way for him. So that is we always do a little bit of who won the trade. I guess we don't know long term, but in the short term, it certainly seems like you came out on top pretty comfortably with that one.
Yeah, some very early returnings there. And before 4 years from now, when Bose is just running the lead and running the league, and Kobe Mayo is a 4-time MVP. Yeah. But I'll take
every year.
I'll take my week 11, whatever it was, victory.
Always remember week 11.
Always remember week 11. Oh man,
yeah.
Appreciate it, Bose.
Yeah, hey, look, it's cool to see one turn around so quick. Often with these, especially as we're trading futures, we're like, whoa, we won't really know for a year or two how this turns out. This one we got to see right away.
So, immediate results.
Good to see, and that is obviously exciting when we have 2 within 20-point matchups, both of those, and then they ended up being determined by one pitcher who was shipped one way or the other. So
crazy.
That is some drama for you in the world of fantasy baseball. Pasquantino was Serial Chiller's best batter, and he was one of our best batters for the week with 40 points for the Pasquatch. Tyler McGill with 36.7 was his best pitcher. Michael Garcia over on the other side for Ace had 33.2 points as his best batter. And then Drew Rasmussen got him with 50 points, was one of our potent pitchers. And as we mentioned, that pitching staff, Ace with that little nugget there, really won you the matchup. So that is certainly an important showing from Rasmussen, who had a couple of good starts there.
This is definitely going to be a matchup to remember. This week will be a week to remember come playoff times. When we're in the seedings, for whatever reason, if I happen to make it in over Bose by just one win or something like that, this is definitely we got to pencil in this week 11. Some pretty butterfly effect moves being made here.
Yeah, I'm getting reports that Bose has already started making a Tanner Bybee voodoo doll. He's trying to mess with the mojo there a little bit.
Oh man, and before next week we get Tanner Bybee going on the IL. Like, god damn it!
With my dark magic, I shouldn't be making jokes like this. He's gonna slip in the shower and stub his toe and
He's gonna pull a Freddy and a Mookie in the same week. Oh man.
Oh boy.
Let's just get on to the next match.
Yeah, let's get on to the
Enough of
next
this black
matchup.
magic.
Punish me a little bit for those bad jokes because it is JMC versus Zang. JMC coming in 5-5, resurging from a little bit of a slow start to the season. And me over on the other side, the dead opposite. I came into this week on a 4-game tailspin. Looked pretty good on that first day. I opened up with 28 points from Jack Flaherty. Boy, that's a good starting pitcher. Should definitely make sure to start him whenever he's playing. 41-16 on that first day for me versus JMC.
Yeah.
JMC took the second day 58-42 thanks to Carlos Rodon's 35 points. I held the lead there, though. Held it through Wednesday as well with 30-37. Jackson Churio with 13 points helped out there. We had actually, I believe, our first tied at the end of the day matchup on Thursday. At the end of the day, JMC and I were tied. Can't remember the score off the top of my head, but I scored 40 points on that day. He scored 42. So at the end of the day on Thursday, we were neck and neck. Not at the end of Friday, though, after he scored 103 points to just 57 from me. Volpe and Holiday both had 10 points on that day and 23 from Davis Martin. Another bright spot over in the Chicago rotation. On Saturday, I had a pretty impressive day with 82 points to 38. Tyone had 34 for me. Crochet just 18, unfortunately, in not his best start versus the Yankees. And Ryan Nelson with a -10. Come back to that in a little bit. And as you can imagine, based on me not being too excited to preview this one, I did end up losing the matchup. Very impressive final day for JMC, putting up 87 points, 21 from Aaron Judge, 30 from Michael Lorenzen, and just 37 on the other side for me. Miguel Vargas putting up 12 points, and good showing from Christian Campbell with 11. He's gotten it going again in the month of June, which is exciting for me, but not quite enough to, to break down that lead that JMC put up thanks to Judge and everyone. So the final score of the matchup, it was 387 for JMC to 342 for me. Just 45 points separating us. So, Ace, would you like to tell the folks why did I reference Jack Flaherty and say that that's such a great pitcher and you should start him whenever you have the chance?
I have a feeling he will be on our. He wouldn't be qualified for a wasted waiver, but a bench blunder would certainly.
It's bench blunder / start stupid move.
Start stuffed.
Start stuffer.
Start stuffer.
To Ryan Nelson, Diamondbacks pitcher who had been on a pretty impressive scoreless streak. I gambled with him against the Reds on Saturday. Jack Flaherty was going up against the Cubs. I was like, man, that Cubs offense is so impressive. Ooh. Used my last start on Nelson. -10 for Nelson. Flaherty scored 35 points. Ace, not a math pod, but what is 10 plus 35?
I believe that's 45.
That's 45. For those of you keen listeners, I lost the matchup by 45 points. So
that's
that right there, there are probably some other minor points in there. You never know how things will flip up and down a little bit with what's it called? Point corrections, stat corrections, and all that. But that real bad move by me ended up being the difference, the nail in the coffin. That is just because I am the absolute queen of having starters put up unbelievable performances while putting up no points for me because I'm out of starts on Sunday. That has become like my gimmick this year, and I'm really not a big fan of it.
We won't forget you, Garrett Crochet.
Garrett Crochet, I know. Finally, I got all his starts in, and he only puts up 18 against the Yankees.
Shout out Luis Severino with the 2-start, 2-loss, 13 earned runs allowed on the 17 hits. That is crazy, dude. How is he only -2? What?
No, man. That's puts up a lot of strikeouts, eats innings. I don't know. Dude, the sack is insane.
Wow.
That ballpark makes no sense.
That's absolutely wild.
Yeah. Not the most impressive week for my my starting staff. I mean, lose 5 now, so we're talking again, just to reference, I was 4-2, and am now 4-7 since I got my last win. That is
Man.
It's getting late early.
It's getting late early.
We'll be, I think, talking about some trades soon. I really tried to buy for a little bit here, sell off some futures I could afford, but it is not looking like the cards are in my favor. So next week's a big one for me with our first loop back around. Maybe I can convince myself I'm back in it, but I probably shouldn't. And
before we're on 6 in a row here next week.
Exactly, yeah. What I should just put Aaron Judge and Rodon in JMC's best batter and pitcher for the week, like on the template that I copy every week, because they have been absolute staples there. 34.2 for Judge and 39.9 for Rodon. They're there every week for JMC, holding it down. And on my end, Torkelson with 22.5 and Tyone with 34.4 were my best batters and pitchers. Nothing too impressive, frankly, on either side there. JMC, I think, did this the mid-off. Dubbed this the mid-off, which, it kind of was. I think we had 2 of the lowest scores of the week. Definitely in the low 300.
Nope. You had the lowest score, yes. Or I'm sorry. Nope, I lied again. That's
we had one lower, but
yeah,
we were in the 300s with a lot of 400s. Yeah. Not super impressive. Those last couple days definitely improved things. So Friday through Sunday on the weekend. But
hey, it's all right. My matchup with Serial was also the same thing. We were both below 400 as well. So.
There you go.
It is what it is.
They don't ask. They ask how many wins.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
And then when it comes down to point differential, they do ask.
And head-to-heads.
Yeah, that it does matter a little bit. But for the time being, we're all good. JMC is now 6-5, hanging up there.
What a comeback for JMC, man.
Really nice. Again, I still feel guilt for that, fuck up with. And I have to say, I have gotten to the point where I get fan tracks, and I love it. The only thing I wish they would add fan tracks who are obviously listening to this, because of course they care so much.
Absolutely.
Please add streaks like ESPN does. It'll say win 5 straight, lose 3 straight, or whatever. I'm having to manually track that, and if you would just add it in there, a little note, that would be beautiful. But I'm a big fan of fan tracks. You all know I pulled.
They do have a a winning streak.
Oh yeah, tell me where.
I see it on the desktop, but if you go on the desktop and you go to standings, it's all the way to the right. You'll see where it says streak.
There it is. Look at that. Okay, yeah. I have no more complaints, fan tracks. You're all good to go.
I just saw that today too, because I thought the same thing. I was like, man, I want to see if there was a tracker, who's hot, who's on a streak and whatnot.
Right.
And sure enough, here it is.
Oh, that's perfect. That'll be really helpful. I don't have to manually count anymore.
Which makes me feel worse for serial killers, because he's 3-8 and he's on an 8-game losing streak. God damn, man.
I need to send him some top prospects or something.
That's brutal.
Yeah, long story short, I'm coming to love Fantrax as UI. I obviously messed that up early in the week, pulled a few wins out from under JMC, but he has made a big resurgence and is, up there with that group we mentioned who are, kind of hanging on or around a playoff spot. So good to see him there now, back above 500 at 6-5. And speaking of above 500, let's slide down to our next matchup. Flaming Prius versus Al Martinet. Flaming Prius, our participant who was above 500, coming in 7-3, going up against Al Martinet, a couple games below at 4-6. This was a wire-to-wire win for Prius. I'll just get that out of the way now so I don't need to keep saying held the lead. He took the lead 57 to -10 on Monday. It didn't really go anywhere. On Tuesday, Caminero had 11, Turner had 20, and Skeens with 35. Over on the other side, on Wednesday, we did have 37 from Mackenzie Gore. Really impressive there. But yeah, Prius held it through the week. He had 57, 117, 47, 72, 92, 69, 82. And, Al Martinet, that -10 was tough to come back on, -10 and then having a 117-point burger dropped on your head the next day was tough to come back from for sure. Yamamoto's 30 points and Mitchell Parker's 24 on Saturday were definitely helpful, helped him win the day there, but, not quite enough to help him through the week. So that does have Flaming Prius winning 540 to 401. That is a 139-point differential. Brings Prius up to 8-3 in a record tie for first place. and Al Martinet down to 4-7. Now, we're going to slide over to best batters and pitchers for the week, and then I have a little Ace trivia question for you. So Jacob Wilson was Al Martinet's best batter. Also, one of the best batters for our week with 42.5. Mackenzie Gore with 37.6 was his best pitcher. Trey Turner over on the other side for Flaming Prius had 35.6. And then Paul Skeens with 73.8 was his potent pitcher.
Getting two Paul Skeens starts in the same week is absolutely fucking criminal.
Is nasty work.
Christ. 73 points? What the fuck?
Do you know how many wins he has on the season? Paul Skeens?
God. Can you tell me how many games he's pitched?
Let's look at his game log. Oh.
It's going to be like below 5, I know it.
Pitched. We're in 2020. Oh my god.
But I just want to
lost.
He
has pitched.
Yep.
Why are they mixing it all up? Oh my god. He has pitched 13 games.
13 games? I'm going to say 3 wins.
4 wins. Hey.
Oh, yeah, below 5. Man.
Below 5, yeah.
Jesus.
4-6 on the year with a 2.05 ERA.
Oh, that's absolutely fucking criminal, man. I saw 90s post in the Discord. Every time Paul Skeens has a start, he should have the authority and the liberty to shoot somebody on the Pirates roster or front office.
I feel it, man. Oh my god.
Man.
This is like one of the best pitching seasons we've seen since Pedro 99, and he's 4-6.
God, that's so abysmal,
Unbelievable.
man.
Yeah. Well, Jacob Wilson is who our Ace Trivia question is about.
Ooh, okay. I thought it was the Paul Skeens, not gonna lie.
Not the Paul Skeens. No. That was just a bonus little question.
Oh, awesome. All right.
Where do you think Jacob Wilson was drafted?
Oh, man.
Like round-wise.
Oh, round-wise? Okay. This I may have a little bit of inside knowledge on this just because he was, I think I talked about this on on a earlier pod, but he is out of not my hometown, but a city that is very, very close to mine, maybe like a 10-15 minute drive out of Thousand Oaks here in California. So I'm gonna say I know he was a later round pick, I want to say, or no, wasn't he a first round pick?
Jacob Wilson was not a first-round pick.
He was not a first-round pick? Okay, so I'm going to say third round.
Third round. He was not a first-round pick. He was not a third-round pick. He was not a 10th-round pick.
Holy
not a
shit.
26th-round pick. This was a trick question. He went undrafted.
Wow.
I was shocked because I went to look this up thinking, man, Jacob Wilson has been such a steal for Al Martinet, figuring he's probably, again, in the 15s, 20s, somewhere there, which I was like, that's a steal. Undrafted, dropped Brett Beatty to pick him up on March 10th, so before the season started.
Dog,
has probably been his best batter this year. So that was a little cheap to you. No discredit at all for not guessing that.
I thought you meant when was Jacob Wilson drafted, like in real life?
Oh, in the MLB.
I was like, wait, there's no fucking way this kid went undrafted and he's just absolutely torching the league right now.
That would be awesome. No, I was going to say, like, damn, I really got Ace then.
Oh, okay, no. Oh, yeah.
Undrafted in our league.
That makes more sense.
Should have specified. That trick question deserves a trick answer. So that's okay.
I was like, there's no way that the entire league passed on this kid 26 times.
Son of a former major leaguer. Yeah, no.
Oh, that's crazy.
No, let's see.
I think he was. I want to say he was a first round pick. I could totally be wrong about that.
Let's find out.
But I want to say he was like a top
6th overall in 2023.
Yeah, I was gonna say top 10 pick.
Yeah, that sounds more correct.
But... All right, cool. I don't sound like a total idiot now.
No.
Although with the way he's playing, maybe he should have been a first round pick.
Maybe, yeah. You'll have to see who else went early in that year. But I mean, I'm early contender for pickup of the year. Again, he looks pretty much the slam dunk. Rookie of the year favorite
easily.
And yeah, I think any of us would take Jacob Wilson for Brett Beatty.
Yeah. And I think the A's, they need it, man. They need something.
They do.
Something to root for. And Jacob Wilson, man, what a kid. Love his game. Love his game.
A lot of fun. Yeah. Hates walks.
Yes.
Why walk when you can hit?
And loves playing in Dodger Stadium.
He does, man.
Damn.
Sit there. Maybe a few years he'll come back home and you can root for the hometown kid.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be awesome.
I wouldn't say that if we had any A's fans.
True.
Yeah. Well, moving on to our final matchup, we've got Big Peach coming into the week 5-5 versus Okie Sooner coming into the week 4-6. Looking to do a little switcheroo there for Okie. But unfortunately, unfortunately for Okie, I should say, this would be another wire-to-wire win. Peach took, a commanding lead on Monday, 56-10. Lawrence Butler put up 17 points, and Stephen Kolek, a relief pitcher, put up 20 points for him there, clearly in a multi-inning outing. He scored 41 on the next day, 56 on Wednesday, 83 and 37 for Sooner on Tuesday and Wednesday, respectively. The big day for Peach was on Thursday, 119 points when Ivan Herrera put up 12, Isaac Paredes put up 18, and Robbie Ray put up 34. Part of the reason it was a bit of a tougher day for Okie Sooner over on the other side, scoring just 60 points. Hap did put up 14, Fried with his usual 35, but Jesus Luzardo with a minus 19, and Matthew Liberatore, who has been a great waiver find for Sooner, put up minus 9. So, a tough combined minus 28 from starting pitchers there on Thursday. Friday was a pretty low-scoring game in the 30s on both ends, and then Saturday, Peach did kind of put the nail in the coffin with 118 points thanks to 40 from DeGrom and another 18 from Kolek. Stephen Kolek there, one of his relief pitchers. He did end up winning the matchup 486 to 311. I believe that was our biggest differential of the week, with 175 separating the two of them. That brings Peach up to 6-5 and drops Sooner a couple games below 500, 3 games below 500, at 4-7. And that is our last matchup for the week.
Yeah, Sooner trying to ride the Yarbrough train and kind of bit him in the ass.
Didn't go so well. Yeah, minus 11 there on Saturday. Tough week for starting pitchers on Sooners end. Yeah, bunch of negatives.
Yeah, Luzardo really let him down.
Really surprising too, because Luzardo has been unbelievable to start the year, and I think this is his second consecutive really, really, really bad start.
Against Toronto too, he had a really rough one. That was the 12 earned runs against Milwaukee last week, and he follows it up with the 8 earned runs today. So 20 earned runs, 21 hits allowed in his last 2 starts, only 6 Ks, and 5 walks. So been really rough couple of last games for Luzardo. Hoping he can bounce back.
That's not going to get it done.
No, not at all.
Not so much. Yeah, you got to wonder if there's maybe an injury plaguing him or something. Something like that. Just to see such a dramatic drop off like that is surprising. So
I mean, yeah, the dude from he hadn't had a negative point start up until last week against Milwaukee, and he's followed it up with basically back-to-back negative 20-point performances, which is just insane to think about, but I think he's going to bounce back. Obviously, it's just in a rough stretch, but, I mean, Okie's definitely hoping he bounces back sooner rather than later.
Sooner.
But I'll be here all night.
There we go. To be fair, on Okie's end, he does look like he has a little time to wait for that, as down at 4-7 along with me. We are certainly not pushing the playoffs as of right now. So
you got time, though.
We got time. He's got time to, let him figure it out. For best batters over on Okie's side, Michael Busch with 30.2 was the best hitter for him this week. Merrill Kelly on his performance on Wednesday put up 41.4. That was his best pitcher points for the week. Peach's best pitcher was Jacob deGrom with 40.9 points. Very solid for him. And then if you have been counting, we've got one final best batter for the week, and that was Athletics outfielder Lawrence Butler with 41.6. One of our best batters for the week, putting up a solid performance, helping carry Peach to that win.
Yep, love to see it. Peach getting above 500 there, and in the tie for 4th place, essentially. With the as we you want to talk about podcast, you want to do how to podcast, getting into our next segment here with the standing segment. Of course, Mike and Flaming leading the pack at 8-4 apiece. Sorry, 8-3, right?
8-3. That's correct.
8-3, yes. All right, 8-3 apiece. Hideki solo in the third spot, all alone at 7-4, and then starts the 4 in a row of Bose, Peach, myself, and JMC. All of us at 6-5, 1 game above 500. We got the next group: Al Martinet in 10, yourself, Zang, and Oki. You guys are down at 4-7, and then Serial locking it down in the basement at 3-8. No movement at all this week, except at the bottom of the standings.
That's
in
right.
10 with the massive resurgence, moving up 3 spots from 12th to 9th. Yourself, Oki, and Serial all dropping down 1 spot. But yeah, top 8 all staying the same, which is pretty wild.
Love it. Yeah, it's interesting, and I think we're going to see less and less movement now that we're sort of into this second wave of matchups. But, oh, man, really interesting to see that there. The top 8 all stayed in their exact positions. A couple of them because of record stuff, like for Hideki and JMC sliding up, but, yeah. Top 8 all staying in their respective spots from last week. And, as of right now, if playoffs were to start today, we'd have Mike going up against Ace, Prius going up against Big Peach, and Hideki and Bose as the 3-4 matchup there.
Yeah, I beat Mike the first time. Oh, wait, no, that's a lie. Mike beat me. I don't know what I'm saying right now. It's going to get crazy. The matchups haven't even really been coming into effect so far. But just wait until, what this was week 11. Just wait till week 20.
Oh my gosh.
Week 20 is going to be absolute mayhem.
We're going to be looking at it.
Yeah.
It's going to be quite something. Bench blunders will be our next segment. Bit of a tough week for a few of us here. Parker Meadows put up 12 points on Monday down on Serial Chiller's bench. Sedan Raffaella with 11 points on Tuesday for in 10. Shane Smith, 26 points on Tuesday for Bose. Another one of those 26-point pitcher performances that could have kind of stolen the win for him there. Surprising one to see, given how often he's appeared on the potent pitchers and best performances list. Christopher Sanchez was on Serial Chiller's bench on Tuesday, put up 24 points there. Wilson Contreras hit 18 points on my bench. Not great on Thursday, especially because I sat him for Logan O'Hoppe, whose game started later in the day and ended up being sat that day, so he didn't get any points. Christian
brutal.
Encarnacion Strand had 3 appearances on the bench blunders list. 13 points on Friday, 11 on Saturday, and 10 on Sunday. Of course, all for Serial Chillers.
Damn, Serial, what's going on, man?
That's tough. He's either got to trade whoever's taking up CES's spot or trade him. So if you're listening to this, go ahead into Chiller's team and look for someone to trade, because you got to start starting him with 3 performances like that. 27 on Saturday for Oki Sooner were left on the bench from Nick Martinez, the starting pitcher. Evan Carter with 12 on Sunday for Mike, and then Matt McLean with 11 also on Sunday for Big Peach. Those were our 9 bench blunders for the week. Only a couple of them really had implications on the, on the matchups, but hey, even if it's just a couple.
Yeah, we got a 3-for-1 with Serial. If he starts him any of those days, he wins.
Oh, no way. That's right.
Serial had 3 guys on this list. If he starts any of them at any point, he wins this game this week.
Or any of the Encarnacion Strand
Yes,
starts.
Yeah. Any of the if he starts Parker Meadows on his 12-point game, if he starts Christopher Sanchez, dude, any of these guys, and he wins.
Oh my god. Okay, I know I'm leading too hard into the bit, but the curse is fucking real. That is insane.
Holy shit, dude. I just realized that. I was like, wow, that's a lot of points left on the bench. And I'm like, wait, I played him. I'm like, oh no, any one of those starts. Yeah,
that is craall
Go to the wasted waivers.
That is crazy. Move on to the wasted waivers. Don't listen. Plug your ears. Wasted waivers. If you need some ball players on your squad, maybe there's an injury, these guys can help you out. Joe Adell, a center fielder, right fielder for the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim.
Yeah, Anaheim.
The
Angels of Anaheim.
Angels of Anaheim. Put up 37.8 points at Boston, then versus Seattle. Quick question for you. Is he, this is a foolish baseball question, the best worst baseball player ever or the worst best baseball player ever?
Ooh. I'm going to go with best worst baseball player
Definitely.
ever.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Because when he's on, it's just like you're watching an MVP at work. But when he's off, it's like, dude, this guy needs to get DFA'd.
Oh, mercy. Yeah. Not good there.
Quite opposite ends of the spectrum.
Yeah, so I would tread carefully there. A 19-point performance made up for more than half of his showing here, but he does have those flashes and is getting pretty regular playing time now. And then Abraham Toro, who's been kind of a revelation over in Boston with our first base situation in flux after the Tristan Casas injury. 33.7 points versus the Angels, and then at the Yankees to cap off the weekend. He has first base and third base eligibility. He had a great game today. Hit a home run. This is as somebody who's like watched all his games. Dude puts up professional at bats. Like that's such a cliche, but it's just like good veteran hitting. Gets the bat to the ball. Doesn't like strike out a ton. Just So that is actually one I would say if you need corner infield, take a look at Toro because he is getting regular play for the Red Sox and pretty good return so far.
Yeah, so we got outfielder and infield if you guys are looking.
Good to fill whatever you need. Mike Soroka was one of our wasted waiver arms. He had 34.7 in one start versus Texas. And then one we don't usually see, but a good one to keep an eye on. Reed Detmers, a relief pitcher for the Angels, was put up 33.3, so it was up there among the highest points on waivers. 4.7, 11.2, 8.7, and then 8.7 there for him. So, if you're in need of a relief arm, obviously we're streaming those quite a bit, so he's a good one to keep an eye on.
Yeah, very consistent showings. Love to see that out of your relief pitchers.
Definitely. In terms of transaction tracker, obviously we have covered the Bybee Kobe Mayo trade extensively there. I do want to jump back quickly though. There was one from last week that kind of slipped under the radar in the Sunday mayhem of getting the sheets and everything all made. There was one trade made last week that we didn't get a chance to cover. Serial Chillers traded Carson Kelly over to Okie Sooner for Dodgers starting pitcher Justin Wroblewski, and then Phillies catcher Eduardo Tate. He's 73 on MLB, number 4 in the Philly system, and then a 2026 third-round draft pick. So, just a little catching reinforcement for Sooner and some, pitching help and a catching depth of the future for serial chillers over there.
Yeah, that's cycle hitter Carson Kelly.
That's okay. He's always got that on the resume. Yeah, cooled down a little bit since the start of the year, but he's been putting up pretty good numbers for the Cubs still there. So that's good to see. And another draft pick trade. There's some people piling up picks, man. It's I wonder if we're gonna see some people coming out of the draft with 4, 5, 6. New prospects after.
I want to see people move multiple picks for like a big name player or something like that. I'm curious to see if anything like that happens.
Still haven't seen a first moved, which is interesting.
Yeah, nobody wants to trade that. Yeah. that's very coveted territory there.
They're all afraid. Yeah. Well, do you want to maybe read out next week's notes or matchups, and I can maybe share who was the winner in the last time they matched up?
Yeah, so we have our first matchup of the week. It is Bose versus Big Peach. Obviously, Big Peach coming off of the win this week. Bose coming off the loss against Inten. I believe they are both sitting at 6 and 5. Mm-hmm. So definitely a big matchup here. Very swing momentum matchup here. Depending, somebody will go to 500 and somebody will go to 2 games above 500 and probably firmly cement themselves into the playoff race. So that is definitely going to be exciting to see.
Yeah, and last time they matched up in week 1, we saw Bose winning 380 to 227. Pretty commanding win there for him.
Yeah, and it looks like here, just off of initial readings, Bose is projected to win at 52%. Okay. So take that for what you will.
We'll see. Matchup 2. Yeah, no. Yeah. We can tag off a little bit here. Yeah. Matchup 2, we got Flaming Prius versus Serial Chillers. Flaming Prius obviously near the top of the league at second place at 8-3 it would be, and then Serial Chillers down at the bottom at 3-8. So we've got a top and a bottom going up against each other here. That was actually not the case in week 1, though. Serial Chillers did end up taking down Flaming Prius 282 to 204 there. Part of that hot 3-game start we've always referenced. What about next week? What are they projecting there?
For Flaming and Serial, it looks like that Flaming is projected to win this one at 54%. So, very, very close matchups for the most part, or the projections, I should say. Usually the only time the projections are really not close is if lineups are invalid, or, somebody's missing players, something like that. But yeah, so, obviously Flaming, not surprised there to be the favorite, but I think Serial, I hope Serial can upset.
That would be good to see after all the cursing.
Oh man.
Yeah. Hideki versus Oki Sooner is our next matchup. Hideki in 3rd place up there, and Oki Sooner down in 11th place. We do have Hideki sitting at, he would be 7-4, and Oki Sooner, in that bottom sort of grouping of 4 of us at 4-7. Last time they matched up, that would be Hideki versus Oki Sooner. Oki Sooner won the matchup, 275 to 245. Man, it is pretty crazy how quickly
we forget.
How this all went down,
That's wild.
Tell me, what are the projections looking like for next week?
So it's looking like Hideki is projected to beat Oki. This one is a little bit of a bigger projection, 58% to 42%. And by the looks of it looks like their lineups are pretty set for the most part. Hideki is just definitely got some guys that are projected to score a lot more. 405 to 374 is the projection here.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, we've certainly seen that with his lineup and starting pitching, and coming off we call it a down week for him when he still scores in the 500s, but coming off a lower scoring point week, that does hint to me that maybe a few of his starting pitchers, only had 1 start this week rather than 2, so we could see a pretty big swing from Hideki next week. Matchup number 4 is Zang versus Mike. Mike, of course, up at the top of the league at 8-3, all alone up there, and I'm bunched in that bottom group in 10th place, down at 4-7. When we matched up week 1, though, once again, not what you would expect. I beat Mike 305 to 243.
Yeah, and the projections here are this is insane. Mike is projected to win 78%, projected to score 490 points to your 359.
Bro.
Which is just absolutely mind-blowing. I had to check to make sure that there wasn't like a lineup error or something that was causing it. Nope, those are just the numbers.
Oh no. So that's bad.
You want to take your 50-1 odds now for Zang to win? The line is opening up at 30 to 5-1.
Zang, Kevin Millar, don't let us win tonight.
Oh man.
Yeah, no, I'm not winning that one. So we will definitely see Mike scooting up there. Ace versus In10 is our next matchup. Ace with the group of 4 grouped in the middle, currently at a playoff spot in 6th place. Ace is 6-5, and In10 continuing that sort of rise that he is on at 4-7, bunched in the other group of 4. Last time they faced off, we had Ace scoring 319, and In10, who, if I'm remembering correctly, had some trouble maybe with the UI, with setting lineups and stuff, scored only 143 on that first week.
Yeah, so definitely there was some user error or some UI error in week 1 of the season. But, however, I don't project that to happen again. However, this projection is obviously going to be wrong. I'm projected to win 100% because In10 does have an invalid lineup. He does need to move. I believe it's Ian Shore, I believe is his name. Yes. Yeah, I'm sorry. Ian Seymour, the starting pitcher for Tampa Bay, needs to move him off the minors bench or something like that.
Keep an eye out for a trade or claim to get him up there. We'll see how that one goes. And then, of course, our last matchup of the week, we've got Al Martinet versus JMC. Al Martinet is in the bottom group of 4 that we've been referencing, hanging there in 8th place at 4-7, and JMC just one spot above him in 7th place in the top group of 4, hanging at 6-5. Just noticing nobody at 500 this week.
Nope. Yeah, everybody is at least above or below 500. Nobody at dead even.
Probably because it's an odd week.
That would also make sense, but
famously not a math pod.
There could have been ties. You never know.
Great moment for me.
I
always tell people I teach first grade for a reason. I really can't do much anything higher than that. So,
hey, what are you gonna do? We're not a math pod.
Not a math pod. JMC did win the matchup last time they faced off, 304 to 285. What about next week? What are we looking at?
Yeah, Al Martinet. This is the most lopsided matchup. Obviously, not barring my matchup because of the invalid lineup, but this is the most lopsided matchup that I don't think involves an invalid lineup, and it's Al Martinet, 81% projected to win against JMC.
Holy cow.
Al Martinet, we thought the 490 was crazy. How about 497 projected for Al Martinet to 348, or basically 349 of JMC. So the highest, I believe, again, not counting the invalid lineup, I believe that is the highest projected score of the week against the lowest projected score of the week. So we'll see what happens there.
We'll see how it goes.
Pencil that matchup down.
Oh, man. All right. Well, first time meeting up against former opponents. Certainly looking forward to that getting into next week. Here is the news that we sort of teased at the beginning. I will not be here for next week's episode. On Saturday, I'm getting married. I'm very, very excited. Looking forward to it. Thank you. Looking forward to, the wedding. So Sunday I am going to be, spending time with family and my then wife, which I'm really looking forward to. So I won't be available on Sunday. It's a little up in the air. Ace might do a solo pod. We might, just have you all wait a week. But it's worth the wait, because when we come back, we will be in week 13. Being that there are 25 weeks, it's not an even halfway through, but that's just over halfway through. So we will be doing our big halfway through the season segment, where we'll go over who are the best batters on the year, who are the best pitchers on the year. So this is overall so far. We'll even do a couple predictions. Biggest disappointments, absolutely. Yeah. We'll do some projections on who's going to make the playoffs, who will win the championship, all that kind of stuff. So in the event that we don't end up having one next week, hopefully we'll be able to make up for it a little bit in that following one on week 13.
Yeah, next week, of course, next Sunday, usually when we record the pod, is, of course, Father's Day. Shout out to all the Lolly Dadders as well in the Discord. Happy early Father's Day to you guys. So, of course, with Zang getting married and myself most likely spending it with my father, we will be dependent. If there is a show, I will most likely do like a solo kind of just like quick little half-hour run through the stats, do little recaps, go over the trades if there were any, things like that, just to give you guys something to listen to keep up with the league. But if we're unable to, obviously, like Zang said, we will reconvene for the big halfway point show in week 13.
Halfway, damn.
Dude, we're
crazy.
Already halfway. That's crazy.
Almost there. Crazy. Wonderful. Well, thank you all for joining us once again. We are excited to see how the next week or two are looking in fantasy. Hopefully we'll see some exciting upsets and maybe even a few wins from some of our cursed teams there. So from Zang and
looking
Ace,
at you, Serial.
Yeah, look at it. They can get one in. 2 chances. We're signing off, and we'll see you next week.
Have a good one, everybody. Take care.
You know what that makes you, Larry?
Lollygaggers.
Lollygaggers.